is here. We are redefining what it means to sit at the girls' table. Hi, everybody. You're listening to The Girls Table, which is focused on highlighting the voices of women in crypto and Web3. My name's Alana, also known as Trading Female, and today I am so excited to have Wendy, the founder of the O Show, who first heard about crypto in 2011, but really started jumping into the space in 2017 and 2018. Wendy, I'm so excited to have you on The Girls Table today. You run one of the largest and most watched female-run crypto YouTube programs globally called the O Show. And for anybody who hasn't watched Wendy, really just explains tech-heavy information in a clear and really just easy to understand. So definitely check her out, watch her YouTube, watch her TikToks. Wendy, I can't wait to share your story today and really focus on why we should all care about crypto and just dive into the basics. So thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. And I don't think the audience, well, they're not going to know, but you actually got to meet Lo, my daughter, before we went live, and you got to see her face. So it's super exciting because I keep her private. But thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat about crypto, about NFTs, about like everything. And just thank you for having me.
Yes, and it was amazing to meet your daughter. And I'm so excited. I just want to start off, if you could give everybody just a quick introduction about yourself.
So I go by Crypto Wendy-O or Wendy-O. I have a YouTube channel, a TikTok, a newsletter, Twitter, Instagram, I'm all over the place. I basically just talk about all this tech heavy stuff, and I try to break it down as simple as possible because I believe everybody deserves to have a better quality of life. And if you want to have a better quality of life, you have to put a little bit of work in. And sometimes this stuff can be complex. And I feel like there's so many really great sources of information, but a lot of times these people are super tech smart, which is great, but more mainstream people like myself are not super tech smart. I didn't grow up in a tech savvy household. I didn't grow up with like STEM being a focus, and that's okay. So that's why I've created this space where people could come in and, we can break things down very, very simple and hopefully help get you like, more well-versed in math and crypto and, well, not necessarily math, but I say math because most trading is backed by math, especially the indicators we use, but get you down that crypto NFT rabbit hole and find something that resonates with you to improve your quality of life.
Wow, I love that. And I just want to start off with, what was even your aha moment in crypto and NFTs?
So NFTs, because I got into Bitcoin crypto end of 2017. I bought the top. I had no idea really like what this was. I just I can trade and invest in this 24/7, 365. I read Satoshi's white papers this resonates with me. Freedom, people being empowered, people being able to do what they want. And the narrative with Bitcoin has changed so much since then because Bitcoin maximalists are so toxic. And again, you guys with me, I don't necessarily have a filter, so I say things and it is what it is. It. And to me, I'm like, dude, that's fine. You can be toxic. But at the same time, Bitcoin was created for the people, by the people. So you're kind of gatekeeping this. So whatever. But my aha moment was I wanted to be able to work from home and I wanted to start a business. I didn't know how to do it. And part of the reasons why I wanted to be able to work from home is because I have a daughter. I have a 5-year-old. And I had a really rough childhood.
So cute.
Yeah, I had a rough childhood. I have had a really, a pretty rough life. Some of the stuff I go through on a daily basis, even today, people would not believe me if I told them, but whatever. And my aha moment was I was able to start when I started kind of doing consulting and I started doing well in trading. And I was able to really build this foundation for myself to be a stay-at-home mom and be there for my baby. It's a really cool thing. And also, too, after that, people, would say, thank you so much for being here. And I didn't really I wasn't really focused on gender differences for a long time because I grew up I've always been one of the boys, all my friends are boys, whatever. And then when I got into crypto and I started getting people were saying terrible things to me online because I was a woman and I would get hit harder than a lot of the other people. I'm like, oh, there's a difference. Okay, I need to be here because I need to create a really dope space for people to where I'll take you guys can attack me all you want. I'm fine. I'm tough, but you need to leave these groups alone, these people alone, let them do their thing, stay in your lane. So that's why I've kind of stayed in cryptos to kind of fight back against that because I'm not with any of that BS. If you don't like what somebody's doing, turn the cheek, go away. You don't need to harass them months on end, weeks on end, years on end for whatever reason. The world is such a big place. Let them do their thing.
Yeah, and I 100% agree about also all the friends being boys. That's actually why I started the girls' table, because the name came from, I found myself at the guys table all the time, and I'd sit with guys and they were always talking about investing, crypto, how much they're making at their job, what they're doing next. Then I'd go over the girls and I'm like, why are we talking about boys and drama? And so I really named it the girls table to redefine what it meant to sit with the girls, because I think there are so many women voices that need to be heard. And so that's why obviously I'm having you as one of my first people on it. So, but thinking about crypto, so I would love to hear your perspective of what is the simplest way to explain the value of crypto?
So the simplest way to explain it is actually very easy. I come from a healthcare background. So I worked in HIV/AIDS, infectious disease for 7 years. I managed 200 to 300 patients per month. And it's a very challenging sector because people see HIV/AIDS, they're like, oh, you're from this specific group and you have it, because it's dependent on that group and those actions. It's really, really not. Like, even as a woman, I can get it. God forbid. But I feel like people really stigmatize that and they don't look at the bigger picture. So the way I would deal with my clients and support them is I would get to know each individual one. I would get to know their stories, I knew their partners' names, their wives, their girlfriends, their boyfriends, whatever it was, their dogs, their, how many kids they had, were they in a relationship, what they liked, all of that stuff. And I even knew the regimens for some of them. So one of the things I do when I talk to people about crypto, I said, what do you do for work? And I like to, I like to find out a little bit about them. Oh, okay. Well, you work in healthcare. Oh, well, do you know that blockchain can help make this easier for you? Oh, you're an attorney. Well, did you know that you can use smart contracts for this to ensure that, this, if these stipulations are not met at this time, then you can enable smart contracts to go ahead and disperse those funds or to extract this money or to, to do whatever it is. So I try to explain it in that aspect. Like Bitcoin is kind of like the internet gold, like a kind of a store of value, even though it was created as digital cash. And Bitcoin maximalists will argue that all day long. But I try to find out how to improve their quality of life, and then I kind of bring it up. And then we can talk about Bitcoin or talk about other things. Like Bitcoin is generally the first asset I tell people to fall down that rabbit hole, read the white paper, make a choice for themselves. But realistically, crypto is a really big ecosystem. It's Bitcoin, it's altcoins, it's DeFi, it's NFTs, it's smart contracts, so many things. But you want to make it easy for people to understand, because if they hear that, like, let's face it, I don't know how my cell phone works. I don't know how my mic works. I don't know how any of this stuff works. I just know I use it. And I feel like crypto is the same way, but you have to make it to where it makes sense to people. Because let's face it, especially in the United States of America, we are not taught tech. We're not taught STEM. Like, you have to go to private school to get that type of, education. And that's okay. So I feel like we need to, make it super simple. And for a long time, all the boys on crypto Twitter called me stupid. Like, you're an idiot. I'm like, no, I'm not an idiot. You're just an a-hole. Like, you just have your head up here. You think you're better than everybody because you grew up differently. And that's not okay. It's okay to break things down in a simple way aspect. That doesn't make somebody stupid. I have actually heard people that have like really thick accents or speak a specific way because they're from, a particular area. And just because they don't sound like you doesn't mean they're stupid. It just means that they articulate and their mind works differently.
Yeah. And I think that's so true. And I think one of the biggest things is, like, as we get older, it's going to be even harder to understand this technology. Like, it's so up and coming. I mean, I really have a video on TikTok trying to explain to my parents how to open up a MetaMask, and it took 2 hours. It was absolutely insane. And it's 4 buttons, by the way, if anybody's done it. But so I'm curious, and you mentioned some, but what are some of your favorite use cases for crypto today?
I love Bitcoin as a store of value. I like DeFi as a way for people to, earn passive income. Obviously, there's a lot of drama with DeFi right now, but realistically, like, Bitcoin is probably like my top thing, because it kind of does embody freedom. And you don't just have to be a Bitcoin maximalist. You don't have to be in that ideology. You can literally be in Bitcoin, crypto, and NFTs. Like, they're not exclusive. Like, they all work together. But probably my second favorite aspect of crypto is probably NFTs. And the reason why, back in 2017, 2018, the ecosystem wasn't built out what it was today. Like, if you wanted to do an NFT, you had to deal with Ethereum, like CryptoKitties, the network would crash all the time. And then there's counterparty for Bitcoin NFTs, kind of, sort of, which is kind of like a layer on top of whatever. It's just it's not as effective as some of these other protocols we have. But NFTs are really great because they allow for ownership. They allow for people all around the world to create something and reach a global market if they want. And right now we see a lot of this generative stuff, which is fine. People want to trade, they want to participate, be part of the community. That's great. that's just the very beginning when it comes to NFTs. And really, I'm more passionate about seeing music men and music women, musicians, artists, creators be able to actually own their merchandising rights, their licensing rights, and take control back. Because let's face it, like there's third-party predatory people all over the place, and they prey the hardest on poor, talented people. And NFTs kind of solve that. Well, they could potentially solve that if it's done correctly. But again, we're with NFTs, we're super early.
Oh, I agree 100%. So I actually work at a Web3 VC where I've invested. So recently just did LimeWire, and I'm like, okay. And as you mentioned, like, let's help those musicians like get on. And also they accept US dollars, they accept fiat. So that's another way to like easily onboard people. But for people who are new to the space, so you're just starting out, you're learning about crypto, obviously Bitcoin you think of as more stable, use of cash. Like, where do people start out? Like right now we mentioned there's crypto, there's NFTs, there's altcoins, there's shitcoins, like the list goes on. So, all right, I'm new to the space, I jump in, what now?
After we've had the initial talk and I've asked you what you're passionate about, and I talk about how blockchain or smart contracts, NFTs, Bitcoin can kind of improve your quality of life, I always direct people to Satoshi's white paper. Like, I love altcoins. I love shitcoins. Like, I don't care what people invest in just as long as they understand the risk. But I always direct people to Satoshi's white paper first, because you read it and you're like, what the hell is this? I don't understand. And I tell people, it's okay if you don't understand. Take the terms you don't understand, Google them. It's okay to do that. You're not stupid. Like, that's what normal people do. That's what people that want to better themselves. Read the white paper. See if it resonates with you. Read it 20 times. I don't care. And after you start reading the white paper, you're going to see other terms in there. And you're like, okay. And when you're Googling, you're going to see other things pop up. So then you're going to fall down that rabbit hole. And then you're going to be able to figure out what resonates with you and how it resonates with you. And then after you've done that, then you're going to find all these other resources like crypto and altcoins and NFTs, smart contracts, different blockchains, whatever it is. But I always like people to start with the white paper first, because it just gives a good, I mean, it can't, like when you get to the math part of it or like the little diagrams, whatever, it can be a little bit complex. But at the same time, like people do need to understand that this is code, this is math. It can be complex. But again, it could be something simple to understand if you put the work into it. And that's what a true decentralized economy is thinking for yourself. And a lot of people say that they want this, but they're not willing to put in the work for it.
Mm-hmm. So after people go ahead, they read that, what's the usual next step?
The usual next step is go to YouTube. Go to, like, no, maybe not necessarily.
Go to your channel.
Yeah, go to my channel. I mean, like, I have my free newsletter, and what I love about my newsletter is it is one, like, I fund it myself. Like, I fund it myself. We've had one sponsor on the newsletter, a really great project I absolutely love. Like, absolutely love them. But that was it. And like, we did the newsletter I funded it myself for 2 years, and I hired really great writers, and I let them write about what they want to write about, like things that were exciting to them. And there was no, like, people always say, oh, well, if it's sponsored, it's bad. It's like, no, it's not necessarily bad because it's sponsored. Like, you know, but that's a whole nother conversation for another time. But it was just cool because I've let my community, my writers write about things they're passionate about. So it's 100% free. It's on my website. We have a blog, whatever. It's a really great resource. Investopedia is free. Talks about different trading aspects. There's a lot, like YouTube I feel is a better place to learn about crypto. But one thing I will say, the industry, yes, it's unregulated, but at the same time, like, I feel like that's a better thing, because I'm not really excited with a lot of the regulation we're going to see coming. But I think that it's important to, like, when you're starting to dive down the rabbit hole, to not, like, you're listening to people, but you don't want to like follow what they're doing. You want to say, okay, well, she said this, he said this. I'm going to take these pieces of information because they resonated with me, and I'm going to make an opinion for myself. And it's more about critical thinking. Like, we have all these amazing free resources, but at the same time, it is up to you as a person to use critical thinking. And I know that may be a hard concept for some people because we're not taught that in schools, but at the same time, you're in this brand new industry. There's a potential to make a lot of money, but there's also a potential to lose a lot of money. So be very careful what you believe and make decisions for yourself, because you deserve it and you're smart enough to do it.
100%. And this space has so much FOMO where it's like, okay, people do really well, then you want to go ahead and buy it. I mean, I did with the shit coins, and I lost a ton of money because I just FOMO'd in and wanted to go follow other people. And if you could go back in time and really give yourself any advice since you first started until now, what would it be?
I would just ignore more people. I would not give my time to so many people and create more boundaries. Part of how I've been able to get where I am today is a lot of networking. I spend a lot of time working for free. I spend a lot of time doing free consulting, giving my time to people. And it was a good learning experience, but I wish I would have given less of my time and less of myself. But that also has to do with me as a person from previous trauma and me always wanting to just help people regardless. So that was one thing that I would do. But at the same time, like all the networking and all the events I do, like now I don't do them as much, but I've done over 4 dozen free events in LA County, like free meetups. And that's a lot. Like that's a lot of events. And they're great networking experiences, but set boundaries, especially in crypto. Always set boundaries. Boundaries are important. Self-care is important.
Yep. I agree. So lately, the market's been tanking. I mean, we try to ignore it. Obviously, it's hurting us all. It's hurting all of our portfolios. And some people are scared, especially people who aren't even in this space and just beginning. It definitely scares them off. So what is your advice on how to really get through this bear market?
Well, the first piece of advice that I would give is I made my most popular video was on taking profit. I got 737,000 plus views on YouTube, and people absolutely smashed me and were like, "You're an idiot. Why are you taking profit?" I posted this on September 25th of 2021. I wish
I followed that.
I stayed taking profit. Like we have a moonbag strategy. That's when you're in profit. You're removing your initial investment. You're removing your profit. So a lot of people didn't do that, and that's fine. Shit happens. But what you can do as you become a better investor and trader, because let's face it, everybody is like, we're all swing trading at this point, you know? So the best way you can do this is come up with a bullish and a bearish plan. Come up with a plan that makes sense to you, for you and your family. My wealth is different than your wealth. My emotions are different than your emotions. My style is different than your style. Do what works for you. Be cautious, be careful, but at the same time, you have to come up with a bullish and bearish scenario. Like this is the thing, like we are so used in the United States of America to tossing our money into a 401k. I guarantee people that are putting their money into a 401k, because I was one of these people, have no idea what the F they're putting their money into. They're just literally letting their employer or that service, ADP, whatever, pull the money out, put it in all these stocks or bonds or whatever the hell. And with crypto, you get to decide what you're going to invest in. So you're going to have to teach yourself, and you're going to have to learn how to do these types of things. So Bitcoin is always safe to dollar cost average, and for the most part, not financial advice. But, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to dump all my capital in now. No, you want to kind of wait, because if this, in fact, is the real bear market, which I think we will have a melt at first, could be wrong. I don't care. But we're going to, like, you're going to want to make sure, you're going to want to buy, like, if you want a dollar cost average or like buy the dip in a real bear market, we still have a lot more downside to go. I have bids set all the way to $20,000 Bitcoin. I'm probably going to set them to $8,000 Bitcoin just in case. I don't ever think we're going to see 4-figure Bitcoin, but I don't know. So as a trader investor, I want to go ahead and buy there.
Yeah, I want to dive into that a little bit more than the market today. So what do you think is causing it, and where do you see it going? Because you mentioned it a little bit, but I just want to hear a little bit more about your opinion about where we're at.
I think the Terra Luna thing was 100% manipulated. There's something that's not sitting right with me about it. It just doesn't, it's hard for me to articulate it, because I'm looking at BlackRock investing in USDC. I'm looking at FTX. I'm looking at all of these regulations, all of these things happening. We had Gary Gensler talk really bad mess about stablecoins months and months ago. It's just there's too many things that are happening, that are going on. And really, people need to pay attention to what the VCs are doing in this space. Because it's like, and this is not a jab at VCs, because there's a lot of good VCs, but like a lot of the people that were invested in Terra Luna, the VCs, that's why when someone's like, oh, Wendy, you should talk about UST on your show. And I'm like, nah, I don't really want to, because I don't necessarily trust it. It's backed by Bitcoin. But LFG did all these things with all these VCs, and nobody's been disclosing their unlocks and all that type of stuff. So there's some stuff, but something is not right with the market. And it does feel like it's being heavily manipulated by a lot of the big guys. That's why I'm like, when people like bear market, I'm like, bear cycle. So we'll see. And again, I want to be, I don't care if I'm wrong or not, but just there's something that's not right. There's really, really something that's not right.
I mean, it's definitely affected the whole entire market. We're seeing it. And I think we just need to figure out what's causing it. And then, as we've kind of mentioned, like, be careful with your money, because like, as much as you are in this, you need to know your risk tolerance, and you need to understand how you feel about investing.
And having a diversified portfolio is good. Like, if you want to degen out on this new Luna that they're dropping, or airdropping, whatever the heck they're doing, use a small you have a portion of your portfolio for your degen stuff, which you know that this 10%, this 5%, this 1%, 2%, whatever it is going to go to zero, and you're okay with it.
Yeah, And that's, I think, most. I mean, I could say it with the shit coins where it's like I had to know my risk tolerance. And I would say, like, one thing I was wondering is like, what's the biggest skill you think you need to learn? Because for me, when I first started out in this space, it was I needed to learn patience. I needed to learn that, like, right now, if I were to sell every single time it goes down a little bit or every single time it goes up, like, sure, it's take profits a little bit, but it's also like hold if you actually have a reasoning for why you bought it in the first place. So curious to know, like, obviously people feel like everything's up in the air. This market's really affecting them. What type of skill do you think is important for everybody to really keep in the back of their mind?
Critical thinking. And the reason why, I know it's a broad topic, but the reason why I say it is because so many people just want to jump in and think that everything is going to be okay, and they don't want to put the time in, they don't want to put the education in, they don't want to put the resources in, and they end up getting wrecked. And that's because you're not taking the time and investing in yourself. And when you're using critical thinking, you're challenging your mind, you're looking at different scenarios, you're looking at different opinions, you're taking that information, good and bad, controlling your emotions, and then researching each one of these things, and you build it into something that makes sense for you. And if you don't have time to critical think, you don't want to critical think, you don't want to do these things, you will lose. 100% you will lose unless you just have some really dumb luck and you get lucky. But then again, if you get to have this dumb luck, you get lucky and you don't take profit, you're still effed.
Yep. And I wish I saw your video back in September. I've taken some, but it's never enough. So
it happens. I didn't take like there's some projects I didn't take profit fast enough. Like probably quite a bit of money, and it happens. It happens to the best of us. In this last quarter, I dumped money into a bunch of stuff, and I wasn't actively watching it. A lot of the stuff went to zero, so I lost quite a bit of money, and it happens to all of us. So now I know if I dump money into something, I'm watching it like a hawk. I'm not going to lose out on any type of money anymore.
Yeah, for me, it was the free airdrops, like ENS domains. I happen to get a lot of that, and I'm still holding it. I'm one of those people where I'm like, well, I'm bullish on it. I'm obviously using it myself. I'm really bullish on unstoppable domains and your digital identity, but it's like, it's always remembering to take a little bit of profit, and that's okay.
Yeah. And with airdrops too, like there's some stuff, like there's a couple, like ApeCoin, I felt that FOMO. I didn't take profit on that, but at the same time, it's like, I got that for free. Like, so it's kind of hard because I don't want to fade Yuga Labs in or the DAO or whatever it is that they're doing, but and there's other airdrops that I didn't sell. And like one of them today, apparently they rugged, and I just, I got the airdrop, I didn't sell it. And cause sometimes I won't do that because I do have a responsibility, like in a sense. So sometimes it's hard for me to not take profit on some things that were like an airdrop that's kind of gifted to me. And like I have an NFT wallet, Wendy.eth, where I have a little bit of ETH in there. That's my money. But there's a couple, like any NFT that was gifted to me, I'm not going to sell. I just don't feel that that's right. Like even the honorary stuff or whatever, I just don't feel comfortable doing. Like, so whatever. And people are like, why wouldn't you do that? What happens if it hits $1 million? It's like, because like, I don't know. That just seems not cool. I don't know. I'm weird.
And it was sometimes. A gift,
Yeah.
So I just want to go back to, I know we've talked a little bit about crypto. We're in a bear market. So I want to just remind everybody who's new today, why are you bullish on crypto?
I'm bullish on crypto because I feel like it's the last thing that we have to fight against the ivory towers. When I say ivory towers, y'all know who I'm talking about. Because really, like, these people are, the stuff that's happening and I'm seeing happen, like, it's with BlackRock, especially with BlackRock, it's just, I feel like crypto is the last hope, but humans, I feel like we're going to screw it up because we just get lazy, we get selfish, we just get kind of stagnant, and I want the future to be better for people. Like, I'm a mom, like, I have a 5-year-old, and her future is important to me, and so I actively speak out against this, and I may not be the most popular person, but I will go head to head with anybody in this space and speak my opinion. But really, the future for our kids is the most important to me. Like, this is why this is why I've stayed on the internet. This is why, like, despite everything I've dealt with. And I just feel like crypto does have the opportunity to improve the quality of life of people if we allow it to.
Yeah. And which cryptocurrency do you tend to buy the most? And what was your best crypto investment, if you don't mind sharing?
So I am heavily invested in this project. Is Gala Games was the best investment I made. I dumped a little bit into it.
I just met the founder this past weekend, actually, at VCon.
They're amazing. Like the whole team is just really, really great. And like, this is not an endorsement to buy. Like, the community is dope. Like, if you want to take a look at it, join the community, ask questions, join the Discord, do all of that stuff. But they're really just a really great group of people. They have the play to earn game. They know about, they don't really have a paywall for that. They're going to be doing a lot of really great stuff, but like, that was probably the best investment. And then probably the Mute apes that I swing traded, and I have a moon bag of now because I got the airdrop for both of the apes, both of the Mute apes. Then I sold one. I bought them when the floor was like 5 ETH. I sold one at 30 ETH. So the one I have now is a complete moon bag, and I was able to get some land, like all kinds of really cool stuff for just having this ape that I own free and clear. Like it's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I looked at buying one over NFT New York City. So back in November, it's 3.5 Ethereum. I was like, nah, I'll wait. And I'm like, what was I doing?
That's when I bought both of them. I reached out to a really good friend of mine who's super deep down the NFT space, really good, close friend of mine. I was like, which one should I get? He's like, well, these are the ones I'm looking at. I was like, can I buy them? He's like, yeah, go for it. And I did, and I held them. And then, once the whole meta other side thing happened, I was able to flip it, and it was a really cool experience, like really, really great. And I hope, hopefully that one ape I have, I'll never sell it unless I get there's a particular one I want, unless I'm able to get that one. But other than that, I have no plans on selling. It's a moon bag. It's mine free and clear. And I'm more than happy to be part of the community. It's dope. Except I need to get my sweats. I got my sweater and my shirt, but I need my sweats.
Ooh, I feel like you need a rabbit. And then if you could sit next to anybody at the girls' table, who would it be?
Can I pick any woman in the world or like?
Yep, anybody.
I would probably, and they have to be living.
Yes, I'm gonna say yes. But I'm kind of curious what your answer is for who it would have been if they could be dead.
I'm going to actually give a different answer. I'm going to give my great aunt who's passed away. But the reason why I would sit back at a table with her is because I learned to be ferocious from her. She was a Sicilian immigrant. She worked in the banking system and TradFi in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s before women were like out in the workforce. She decided she didn't want to get married. She started working in chemical bank in, Manhattan, all that area. Back, I want to say 40s, 50s, but she started sweeping floors, and then she worked her way up to a teller. Because she was a woman, they wouldn't give her a promotion because women didn't do that back then. But she trained a lot of the executives, the presidents, the CEO, like a lot of the people that did really, really well. And that was what she did. And I mean, she was just so amazing. I literally could call her and talk to her about everything. She was a hard woman, old school Sicilian, but she was very loving, like always brought food to all the neighborhood kids, like was always there for me and my sister. She took us in when things terrible things happened in my family. And just being able to have her in my life, and I would love to sit down with her again at the girls' table and just talk to her about just to get her experience. And I'm telling you guys, if you guys are watching this right now, go to an old folks home, go to a dive bar, go to a coffee shop, find the oldest person in there and talk to them, listen to their story. You will learn so, so much. That's probably one of my favorite things to do. And plus you'll make their day.
Wow, I love that. My grandma just passed away within the last month, and I feel like that just resonated me really well because I feel like No, I loved it. But that was really sweet. I love that. Well, going back to crypto, is there any last minute advice that you have for the listeners today, whether new or holding on in the space, scared about this market, like anything that you had to say?
Don't be scared about the market. You should be more scared about what BlackRock is doing, what a lot of these legalized cryptos are doing instead of the crypto market. The crypto market will rebound. A lot of the altcoins will not rebound. I highly recommend what you do is you invest in yourself, network, talk to people, put yourself out there. You are important. You're so, so important and you matter. Invest time in yourself. It doesn't have to be money, time though. The more time you put into yourself, the more you're going to learn and the better you're going to do. Create an investing plan, a bearish or bullish plan. Create, come up with a diversified portfolio that works for you. Again, Investopedia is 100% free. I wish they would sponsor me, but I don't work with them at all. But come up with, don't listen to people. Use critical thinking and take different parts from people and then make your own assumptions yourself.
Wendy, you're such an inspiration to everybody. I was so happy to have you on today. I'm going to continue to watch you on TikTok, YouTube. Is there any other socials that you want to share today for people to be able to follow you on? I'm just around. I'm Crypto Wendy, so whatever platform you like me on, follow me there. If not, that's cool too. But make sure to follow this amazing woman. She has got all of the tea. Thanks so much, Wendy. I can't wait to connect with you, and I'm so happy to have you on today. Thanks so much for sharing.